Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Nerdy and Proud. As always, I'm your host Matt, and joining me today are my friends and fellow guests,
Grant,
Mike Schultz,
and Don Farrell.
And today's topic, we're going to be talking about something that's very personal to all four of us. This is going to be our top 5 anime, as well as our top 5 manga. So to start us off, we're going to go dive right into Grant's list.
We going both?
Yeah, just you know what? Let's just start with anime. We'll go around in a circle with anime, and then we'll go for manga.
All right. Starting off from the bottom, number 5 is I don't know if you guys heard about it. It's called Gaku Garashi. I can't even say much about it.
Yeah, I've heard about it.
It's awesome.
We'll talk about that.
Okay. Number 4 is Gurren Lagann.
Oh yeah.
You know that
I hate that. Third on my list is Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. Everyone knows that.
Obvious choice.
Number 2 is Sword Art Online. That was the second anime I ever watched.
Wow.
And the first is The Melancholy of Haruhi Suzume. I
Very good.
love
Great choice.
that anime. I love Haruhi. She's my favorite character of all time.
And the Endless 8 too? Do you like that?
I didn't even know it existed, so I watched it all. So I didn't know when it would end, so I had to watch through it.
Just kept going because you loved it so much.
I didn't necessarily love the Endless 8, but I didn't know when it would end, and I never looked it up. So I just went through them all.
Alright. Don, I can see you have a lot on your list, so we're going to skip over to you. I feel like Mike can go on for hours, so let's save him for last.
Alright, so I guess I'll start with mine. My list is more than top 5. Apparently I can't count, but I'm going to give my top 5 from this list of about 10 or so, because, I'm illiterate and I can't...
Yeah, count to 5 for me.
1, okay. So my favorite anime just might be Girls in Panzer. So Girls in Panzer is my number 1. And then from there, I'll just name a few in no particular order. Would be Gunsmith Cats, which is an OVA series. Toaru Kagaku no Railgun. The Monogatari series. The Ghost in the Shell series.
I guess I'll lead up to it. I guess for number 5, I'd say Steins Gate. Steins Gate, I love the show. I've got the Blu-rays and everything. I've seen it so many times. I cosplayed it as that male version of Freezy a while ago too. But it's just such an amazing show, like the masterpiece. It leads off slow, but it gets better and better. Number 4, I'd say Ichijo, if any of you are familiar with that show.
Absolutely.
It's a super ultra random comedy show that's amazing. And if you go anywhere online, it's still referenced everywhere. There are GIFs everywhere. But it's such an awesome show. Number 3, I'm putting this at number 3, but honestly, this is my personal favorite show of all time. Angel Beats. I've seen that show too many times. I have so much merchandise, and it has a really special place in my heart. I really love that show.
Care to elaborate on how many times you rewatched it?
44. I watched it one more.
Oh my god.
What?
44?
44 honest times. I've honestly seen this show 44
How many
times.
episodes are there? Like 13, right?
13 episodes. 13 episodes plus an OVA, plus a new OVA that came out last year with the new Japanese release.
So 15 altogether.
So 15, yeah. And all the mangas, and I own all the mangas. And all the music and everything. But, sorry, enough about Angel Number 2, I'd honestly have to say Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works. But the anime that came out recently. Honestly, to me, that show was just unbelievable in so many ways. I've been a huge Fate fan for so much of my life, and since the 2006 series. But just seeing the show redone in such an amazing way that literally carries you from episode to episode, and literally where you're on your seat, on the edge of your seat every single week wanting to watch the next episode. For a show that you've seen already, and you know the story, and you've played the game and everything. They did such a fantastic job with that. It's literally a visual masterpiece. And number 1, I have to say Neon Genesis Evangelion. By far my top favorite show. Well, up there with Angel Beats.
That's an old one, actually.
But it's honestly, if there's any show that I think that people have to watch, it's Evangelion. It's so incredibly done in so many ways, and the story is so spot on. But if you're into artwork, if you're into anything alternative also, how the show ends, you'll see how it ends if you haven't seen it.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's so good. Such a good show.
All right, so I feel like my list is a little unknown to most of you guys because I watch a lot of anime, but most of the stuff that I watch is very unexpected to my character as well. It's not really mainstream popular, but I don't have it in any particular order, so I'm just going to read them off as how I wrote them or thought them up. First one I have is Rurouni Kenshin, which is a really old school anime, but it's actually like one of the first animes I watched, and it was just I watched as a child when it was premiering on Toonami, and I loved it ever since. Just great character, and that's what really got me into anime. Next on my list is Defrag, which is a little more recent. It's literally just like an anime about nothing. It's a comedy, it makes fun of other things, and it's just wonderful. The pointlessness, I just love it. The next on my list is Spice and Wolf, which...
I love that show.
Yeah, right? It's so good.
That was on my substitute list.
I wish they made more of it. I'm very sad that it ended. However, this is what got me back into anime, because when I was in high school, like I wasn't really interested in anime for a little while, but after I saw this, it really got me back into anime, so that was awesome. Next on my list is another one that's very recent, actually. It's called Engage the Unidentified. It's like a slice of life story. It's a romance one. It's just very funny. And last on my list is my ultimate all-time favorite anime, Kamisama Kiss. This story about everything, I love everything about it. The artwork, how it looks, just the acting, the writing of it all. I love everything about it, honestly. But yeah, now that we know everyone's top 5, you guys just want to like pick one, talk a little bit about it. Well, I know it's going to be hard for you to pick one. And then...
Well, I'd like to throw something else out there though. There's one show I think we should all agree on. I'm pretty sure you've all seen it, and I'm really surprised it was not on your list. It's Cowboy Bebop. Anyone?
Absolutely.
I have actually not seen that.
See,
really?
Yeah.
I saw an episode.
Oh my god.
I just saw like one episode. I remember back when I was a kid, I saw like an episode, but I was waiting for probably like Naruto or something to come on, and it was just there. I'm like, okay,
right.
That's cool. Where are my ninjas?
And for me, with Cowboy Bebop, I'm very similar to both of them. I either didn't watch it or I watched parts of an episode. I didn't finish the entire series. I think I might have watched at most 3 episodes. But despite that, I'm sure we can all say that it is definitely a classic and that we'll eventually watch it.
I mean, for the people that grew up in the Toonami generation, like when I was a kid, I would literally marathon Toonami so much. But that's like the one show that even today they still repeat on end, that they've just gone back to so many times. And even like when Funimation announced, I was there for the announcement of the DVD, not DVD, the re-release cassette, and the entire room went insane, like screaming. Like honestly, I don't know which room screamed more, when Funimation announced Evangelion 3.33 at Comic-Con this year, or when Funimation announced the Cowboy Bebop Blu-ray. Like, both of them was ridiculous.
They both definitely have their own amazing cult following sensations.
Well, it's probably because it's really that Toonami generation that grew up with it, and now they get a re-release of it. They're probably so excited and ecstatic to watch it all over again. I wasn't even part of the Toonami generation. I was really young for that, so like I didn't even get to enjoy most of the shows on it. The only shows that I got to watch was Sailor Moon, I think was on Toonami.
Oh yeah.
As well as Mew Mew Tokyo and Rurouni Kenshin. That I watched, and Naruto. Those 2 I watched in secret from my mom, as well as Yu Yu Hakusho. In secret, because I was a really little kid, and my mom was just like, "It's too violent. Get it off the screen."
Right. So. Exactly. It's interesting because that was the era, growing up. When we were younger, we knew of these titles. We might not have all watched them consecutively with each other, but we all watched like this small pocket of the larger deal of this, with the Rurouni Kenshin, Evangelion, Cowboy Bebop, even movies. Yeah, exactly. Akira. All of those, we know those names. Those are big classics. But it's funny how we all have watched so many anime, yet there are a lot of classics out there we have yet to complete or even watch.
I didn't finish Yu Yu Hakusho until I was in high school and got my laptop.
Oh my god.
That's
wow. That's sacrilege.
I was such a little kid, so I mean, like, But my mom was fine with me watching magical girls transform and just like randomly lose their clothes on television as a little kid. And listen to Sailor Moon tell me to eat food. Nothing specific, just eat food. But like, I was alright, okay. My mom was like, yeah, sure, watch that. Not the fighting one though.
I've got such a good story though. One weekend, like back when I was a kid, I used to watch Sailor Moon every weekend, and my grandpa would always be in the room, but he would usually end up falling asleep by the time Sailor Moon came on. And I would watch Sailor Moon, but one day he woke up when it was on. He literally looks at me, he's like, "What is this? Like, what is this crap? Like, why is it so pink and flowery and happy?"
Back in my day, we had gray.
Back in my day, we had violent, angry explosion cartoons.
Oh yeah. It's really funny though, and I was going to say, I didn't want to say anything at the time because I didn't want to interrupt you, but when you mentioned your top 5, Matt, I actually recognized, I think, all 5 of the. See, I can't count. What the heck is wrong with me? I recognize all 5 of those titles, I think, or at least 4 of them.
Thank you, Don.
And I at the very least probably watched them, but either didn't. How do I put it? Those were all great series, and I think Spice and Wolf definitely is one of my all-time favorites. It just didn't make the list as well. So there's that. I heard a defrag. I don't know anything about that. So
watch it. It's really fun.
Really good. And what else did you mention? You mentioned
watching Engage the Unidentified.
Right, that one's a newer one.
It is a newer one.
That came out how many?
Recent? It's either like 2014.
Oh, wow, is that old?
Fairly
already?
Recent.
Yeah, I thought it was
it's
newer
no
than
more
that.
than 5
Maybe
years
it's
old.
because they had a second season recently, possibly. Is that right or no?
I don't believe they had a second season. If not, I gotta go watch that. But let me just check real fast to see if they have one.
While you check, I think I found that through music on YouTube. It's so funny how YouTube just connects everything together when it comes to anime. I actually found K-On! Through YouTube from watching a guitar cover of Guitar ni Kubatake, which is a insert single from Yui. And not to go back into K-On! Because we just did a prior podcast about music, anime in general, but K-On! Didn't make my top 5 list because it's sort of just, or I would say it's number 0.
I feel like it's
that high up there.
It's really just implied for you.
It's
at
a
this
lifestyle.
It's
implied.
Honestly, it is a lifestyle.
Exactly. So that's where it ranks on there. I just wanted to get that out. So did you find anything about it?
Yeah, no, it doesn't have a second season, but it did come out in 2014.
Okay.
And there are a lot of memes for it, especially with Mashiro, just
Right.
because like she's
the
like
short one.
the short one.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
she's like the mascot of the show. And that's really funny. But yeah, let's transition now that we found out our top 5. I can't count either, Don.
It's contagious.
Your infection is spreading to me. Now that we know each other's top 5 anime, let's move on to our manga. So let's start off with Mike this time.
With
Just go
me?
around. Yep.
I read more manga than I watch anime. Are you sure about that?
Okay, we're gonna come back to you. We're gonna sidebar that. Don, do you have your list ready?
Yeah, sure. I think before we delve into manga right away, though,
Let me just ask a quick question. Do you have 5?
yes, I do have 5 top manga. That is for the main reason being that I haven't read a lot of manga. So, yes, you're going to look at that and you're going to see 6 on there, or 7, but it's better than having 10 or 11 on there, and I will say my top 5. So, my top 5 manga would probably have to be... Alright, let's start. Marine Corps Yumi, which is a really underground manga. It was a comic strip that turned into a manga it has a very interesting story behind it. I'll delve into that in a minute. Then one of the first manga I ever read, High School of Dead, which I thought was amazing.
The anime was great too.
Absolutely. The anime didn't make my top 5 anime list, but I'll go into that later. I think that as a manga, it would make my list, but as the anime, it doesn't, even though the anime was awesome. I Am a Hero is another manga series that I think is still ongoing, and I think Dark Horse picked it up recently, so you're probably going to see a lot more of that, but that one's also another great underground type series that's going to definitely make a great debut here in the US, and they're making a movie right now. So that might be good. Oyasumi Punpun, which is another underground manga, but it's funny because when I read about it online, it has such a huge cult following of underground readers, and it's actually rated, I think, at number 5 or number 6 on the manga list, on my anime list. So it's really interesting that a lot of people haven't heard of it or haven't read it because it's seemingly everyone has. It's really strange.
Do you remember the Poon Poon cosplay from Otakon?
Oh, that was so great. I really enjoyed that. I was so ecstatic when I saw that. And so that was 4. So, and then the next one, I'd say it had to be between the ones that I've just said. Last edition would be Welcome to the NHK.
Nice.
Oh.
Because the manga really does. It's so strange how the manga is just black and white pages. You're looking at this these illustrations. You can still get that despair. You can still get that feeling that the anime does put off quite well. It does give off that feeling of almost that hopelessness and that hikikomori type of setting, but the manga really does do that really well. The manga was so long, and I spent so long reading that, and when I finished that, I was like, wow, am I happy that I finished this, or am I depressed?
You don't
just from
know.
the story itself.
I'm just going to crawl into a corner and question my life existence.
Exactly. But I guess while I'm here and I'm talking about it, I guess I'll finish up by talking a little bit about 2 of those manga on the list, and then we'll move on to someone else so that I'm not interjecting about them again. Is Marine Corps Yumi. Marine Corps Yumi is probably the manga on my list that a lot of people have not read. It doesn't have a lot of readers, and it's still ongoing, but it's very unfortunate because the author died of cancer recently, within the past year,
So
and
how are they continuing the story?
they're continuing it because on her, well, I wouldn't say on her deathbed. How do I put this in a better way? She basically wrote out everything and gave it to the illustrator so that they can typeset everything and they can have translation set up. And she thought ahead of this because she had a lot of time to think about it. But when she was doing this comic series, she had no idea it was going to become so huge. And basically, the gist of it is that it's almost like an autobiography, but not. Marine Corps Yumi is about the author's life going into the Marine Corps, the U.S. Marine Corps. And it's funny because she's a Japanese citizen, but also an American citizen. And there's a weird story that gets kind of convoluted, but she's able to join the Marine Corps because she's technically an American citizen, and it goes through kind of like a slice of life comedic type of story about that, and it's like an autobiography, and it tells about her endeavors and such, and the character in there, it's really funny how they get that across. But yeah, it is very interesting, and it's garnered a lot of attention from service members who like anime and manga as well, and even a very popular webcomic, the Terminal Lance. I don't know if you've heard of those comics, but he does his own little American, Western style comic strip of his life in the Marine Corps, and he actually did some tribute to her and everything, and I think that's really awesome. It's a really interesting niche market manga, and I definitely think more people should check it out, even if they don't necessarily like that genre. And then lastly, High School of the Dead. I love that so well. Everyone loves zombies, right? I mean, sure, the market is a bit saturated at this point with zombie media, especially with The Walking Dead. However,
Or, Pride and Prejudice and zombies.
true. and in High School of the Dead, just the attention to detail, the illustration, the writing, Daisuke, I think that's his name, the author, he did such a great job with High School of the Dead, and the characters, weapons, a really interesting look on the Japanese take of a zombie apocalypse. And obviously the anime came from that. But unfortunately the manga stopped because the author unfortunately died in the great tsunami that hit Japan a couple years back, which is very unfortunate, and all of his stuff was washed away, I think, so they weren't able to continue it. So those are 2 tragic stories that I did mention.
Yeah, let me read out my list, and then I'll pick either 1 or 2 just to talk about, one that really resonated with me. So leading off on my list is Prison School.
Yeah.
I'm sure most of the people have heard of this series. The second on my list is Rose Princess. Third on my list is Alice in the Country of Hearts, Clovers, and Diamonds. Alice in the Country of is really the main series, and then Hearts, Clovers, and Diamonds is the just seasons of it kind of. Bloody Cross, and Demon House of Momoshi. And the ones that I'm going to choose are Prison School and Rose Princess. I'm going to choose Prison School mainly because it recently did get an anime adaptation. This is actually the one thing where I would prefer the sub over the dub, just because I heard the dub one episode and I was like, no, can't do it. Can't do it. It's weird.
What do you think of the manga versus the anime though? Like, which do you think?
What do
you like better?
I like the manga better than the anime, honestly. I mean, like, the chapters are very short, and I literally, like, as soon as I finished the anime, I picked up the manga, and I went back to chapter 1, and I just reread, like, everything that happened, like, page for page, and I read all the way up to chapter 205, which is what they're up to now, so I've done a lot of reading, but, just, like, I feel like the manga is better, because to me, it was just funnier to read about it than to actually, like, listen to them do that. For me, if I had to choose, I would definitely choose the manga over the anime adaptation. Although it may be getting a season 2, so I'll definitely watch it if it comes out.
I'm sure it will.
Yeah.
To be honest,
Yeah, it probably will. Yeah, that's what I have to say about that. And Grant, what about your list?
To be honest, I'm not really a manga fan, but I've read a couple. The most recent one I've read is Kamisama Kiss, which I saw the anime. It's pretty good. I liked it. I enjoyed it. Manga, not so much. Manga does not really resonate with me as much as watching anime. Other manga that I've read, not much. It's Death Note and Hellsing, which are both on my anime watch list, and I've yet to see. But yeah, I just don't get connected as much to manga as I do with anime.
That's really interesting, and the fact that you and me have both read a very little bit of manga. I think I've only read maybe at most 10 different titles, and you've read a few titles yourself. And just the drastic difference between you and me being that I think manga really does resonate with me, like, on a just amazing level. It really does have its own feeling as opposed to the anime or anime adaptation. So that's interesting. That's an interesting take on that.
And last but not least, we have Mike's never-ending list of manga titles that he's read. Don't worry, it's fine. It's fine.
I've seen, like, honestly, with...
I only give you a limit,
Well, when it comes to, like, anime versus manga, like, I feel that, personally, I do watch a ton of anime, but I think I read more manga than I watch anime. Only because every night before I go to bed, I just read a couple chapters of manga, and sometimes it goes from a couple chapters to 5 or 6 volumes.
Next thing you know, it's 5 a.m.
Yeah, exactly.
I have class in a few hours. Better get dressed.
But, like, of my list and of everything that I've seen, my top 5 would probably be starting here. Number 5, I'd probably say the Haruhi manga. I have every single volume of it. I've reread it so many times. I've seen, like, all of the manga that are on this list too. Most of them do have anime adaptations except for one. But I've actually encountered the manga before I've seen the anime for all of these series. But honestly, the Haruhi manga is incredible. Like, it's fantastic, and it covers so much more than the TV series covered. But it does it in such a better way, I feel.
I definitely agree, and that's why it's my number 6. And I didn't mention it, but it is on that list somewhere in the pool. I just wanted to let that be known that at the very least it is in my top 10 because I've only read maybe that much. So, go on.
Well, for number 4, I'd have to say Inuyasha. Believe it or not.
Classic.
I know it's a classic. I know it's mainstream.
Childhood one.
But I've seen the entire anime so many times. I own every single copy of the manga. Literally, like, across. I have one entire shelf of my bookshelf that is dedicated to Inuyasha.
That's an amazing collection.
But, just gonna jump ahead again, though. My number 3 manga would probably be Tonari no Seki-kun, or My Neighbor Seki. It's a much more recent manga than, like, say, Inuyasha or the other ones on my list. But it's just so unbelievably funny. Like, it goes hand in hand with Nichijou in style, but it's just, like, super random, super funny, and all the random stuff that happens between these two classmates during class. But for number 2, I'd have to say Madoka Magica. I love the anime. I've seen the anime so many times. I have all the physical stuff. But the manga, I read the manga first. It's just there's something so much more special about the manga, I feel, than the anime. Like, the anime takes so many ridiculously cool artistic terms, but the manga, the story is just so well done.
Maybe it's
and
because
it's so well paced.
Maybe it's because like your loyalty to it, like you started that first, so it's really just like nothing can beat it.
Well, I feel like if you've read the manga first, like your loyalty to the manga, your loyalty is more towards the manga. It's just like if you read a book first and then you watch the film. Like, it's kind of in that same direction. But for my number one, I'd honestly have to say, this is a series I don't think any of you have heard of. It's called Tripiece. It's an older series. It was only licensed in France. It's never been brought to any other country other than Japan. It wasn't really that big. I forget which company has it in Japan, but basically it follows like a world where there are a couple of different warring nations. There's Zais, which is the like ridiculously all-powerful, completely military state, which controls like everything. They only care about destroying the world so they can control the world. And then you've got the faction, rebel faction going against it, which is Tripiece. And their whole point, like the whole point of their existence, is to find out like the three main things that make peace, and like the three words for it. But they fight against them and they like stop destruction of time. It's so good. It's so long, but it's ridiculously worth checking out.
So like Zelda, but without Link.
Not really. I mean, like,
I'm just joking around.
Like, the main character is so cool. Nana, he's like really, really cool, and I really recommend checking it out. But it's honestly, I'm gonna say it's a hard manga to find. Like, it was like there were talks of licensing here, so it was pulled off a lot of sites. I have the Japanese copies. That's how I read it. But it's just so good, and so worth checking out. Highly recommend it.
All right, well, that concludes this episode for our top 5 anime and manga. It really became into anime versus manga preference, but hope you guys enjoyed listening. As always, I'm Matt.
I'm Grant.
Mike Schultz.
And I'm Don.
And we'll see you guys next time.
Peace.